Okay, let's dive into this explainer. If you've ever stood inside an empty commercial space and just felt completely overwhelmed by how you're going to turn it into your dream business, well, you're in exactly the right place. Today, we're building your personal playbook for mastering commercial leases. We're going to look at how you can strategically leverage lease negotiations to actually fund your space's physical transformation. We've broken this whole complex topic down into 5 clear strategic maneuvers. First, we'll demystify tenant improvements. Then we'll look at maximizing your improvement allowance, navigating those incredibly tricky lease clauses, weighing the pros and cons, and finally, designing for business success.
All right, Section 1, demystifying tenant improvements. Let's lay down a foundational baseline so we know exactly what we're negotiating here.
The big thing to understand is that tenant improvements, or TIs as you'll often hear them called, are what literally transform a generic, empty shell into a highly functional, branded space tailored exactly to your needs. We are not just talking about a fresh coat of paint here. We're talking about everything from simple aesthetic tweaks all the way up to major structural overhauls. It's the entire process of making a space yours, whether you're opening a boutique gym, a cozy restaurant, or a bustling retail store. And that brings us to the TIA, or the Tenant Improvement Allowance. Now, this is your ultimate financial lever. It's basically the landlord's financial contribution to your construction costs. It gives you the power to renovate the bathrooms, customize a storefront, or maybe upgrade an expensive HVAC system without having to drain your own bank account. Landlord might offer this as a lump sum, a period of free rent, or even direct payments for the work. Securing a solid TIA, yeah, that is an absolute game changer for your starting capital. I absolutely love this analogy from our source material. Navigating commercial tenant improvement lease negotiations is akin to fine-tuning an instrument. It perfectly captures the reality that negotiating your lease is about way more than just saving pennies. It's about precision. It's about harmony. It's about molding a raw piece of property into a strategic asset that actually aligns with your long-term business goals. Moving right along to Section 2, maximizing your improvement allowance. Because knowing what a TIA is, well, that's really only half the battle. So you're probably wondering, how do you actually convince a landlord to give you more money for your build-out? Remember, landlords are running a business too, right? They aren't just going to hand over cash because you asked nicely. You really need 2 tactical moves ready to go before you even sit down at the table. Step 1. Do your homework and research comparable leases. Talk to a commercial real estate agent and gather data so you know the local market value and what landlords in your specific area are actually paying out. Step 2, build a rock-solid business case. You have to clearly detail how your planned improvements benefit the landlord just as much as they benefit you. The secret here is pitching mutually beneficial upgrades. Let's say you're asking for funds to install energy-efficient systems. Frame it from the landlord's perspective. You're reducing overall utility costs and increasing the building's sustainability rating. You are literally enhancing their overall property value. When you position your improvements as a way to ensure long-term stability and boost their asset, they are far, far more likely to open their wallets. Okay, Section 3, navigating tricky lease clauses. It is time to squint at the fine print and navigate the legal minefield of the lease agreement itself. There are some incredibly sneaky disbursement rules hiding in these contracts. A huge trap. Landlords often require detailed, fully approved construction plans before they hand over a single dime of that TIA. That means you could be stuck paying hefty design fees out of pocket first. The strategy is to clarify the reimbursement schedule immediately. You also have to watch out for brutal project timeframes. If you don't start or finish on time, you could face penalties, so negotiate realistic dates. And here's a big one. What happens to any unused allowance? If you come in under budget, you need to negotiate so those leftover funds are applied to your rent. Otherwise, poof, the money just vanishes back to the landlord. You also need to explicitly define the scope of work. Who is doing what? You or the landlord? Get the landlord's design criteria and signage rules as early as possible. Figure out the city approval requirements and absolutely make sure there's a clear procedure for how disagreements will be handled. If you don't nail this down on day one, you're risking massive delays, operational nightmares, and busted budgets. All right, Section 4, weighing pros and cons. Let's take a very balanced look at actually taking on these improvement projects. Taking the lead on your TAA comes with some real trade-offs. On the plus side, you get precise customization for your specific business needs. It also helps reduce your out-of-pocket expenses right when cash flow is tightest, and landlord assistance can mean a much faster project kickoff. But the cons? You're taking on the heavy burden of intricate, time-consuming construction management. If the project goes over budget, you, the tenant, cover all the overage risks. And naturally, pulling this off relies entirely on your ability to negotiate effectively.
Finally, Section 5, Designing for Business Success. Let's talk about the ultimate payoff of getting all this right. 40%. Studies actually show that businesses have seen sales skyrocket by up to 40% simply by incorporating thoughtful design elements into their space. That is massive. Think about the impact a beautifully lit showroom, an optimized kitchen layout, or a high-end workout facility has on your bottom line. Intelligent design doesn't just look pretty, it directly drives revenue. A brilliantly designed space reflects your brand's unique personality and core values. It builds an unforgettable image. But beyond the aesthetics, it enhances workflow. It boosts employee productivity. It allows you to seamlessly integrate modern tech like smart lighting or advanced AV systems. And crucially, it gives you the flexibility to expand your team in the future. Bringing in a design-build team to prioritize these functional elements guarantees that your space actively improves customer experience day in and day out. So, let's lock in your final marching orders. Before you sign anything, follow these 4 steps. Step 1, clearly define your design requirements. Step 2, communicate that exact vision to your landlord so you're both on the exact same page. Step 3, make sure the lease actually contains clauses permitting those specific modifications. And Step 4, consider your long-term needs. You want to make sure your lease paves the way for what your business needs today and what it will need 5 years from now. Armed with this playbook on tenant improvements, allowances, and those tricky little lease clauses, you now know a commercial lease doesn't have to be a barrier. It can be a tool. So I leave you with this final thought. Will you view your next commercial lease as a daunting legal hurdle or as your most powerful strategic asset? The terms you lock in today are the foundation for your brand's success tomorrow. Use this knowledge, find that balance, and go turn that empty space into something incredible.